Hey, and thanks for watching another episode of Practical Solutions. My name's John, and today we're going to be configuring GRE tunnels. So, what does a GRE tunnel need? Not much. Look what we got. We got two routers, router 1 and router 2, and one physical connection between the two of them. And what we're going to slap on top of that physical interface, we're going to put a tunnel on it. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into router 1. First thing I'd like to do is give this one a nice name. Very generic. R1. All right. What do we got? Nothing configured. So the first thing that we're going to do in a GRE tunnel is you need three things. You need a tunnel IP address, you need a tunnel source, and you need a tunnel destination. The tunnel IP address can be whatever we want to use. It can be our own network that we want to go ahead and place in and on that tunnel. So that's up to you. As far as your physical interfaces that you're going to use, those are up to you as well. We're going to use 2/30s because we're building a point-to-point link and a point-to-point tunnel. So, first thing I'm going to do is interface gig 00. IP address I'm going to add is 192.168.0.1. I'm going to do the /30 since I don't need that many IP addresses for two routers. And then for description, I'll just put point-to-point and then no shut because by default these are all administratively shut. All right, so you should see that come up. The line comes up. We're good there. Router 2, same thing. Give it a host name. And then let's go ahead and jump into interface gig 00. Give it an IP address. Again, /30, so that's within our range. Description is going to be point to point, and we're going to no shut that too. And now with these descriptions, if you didn't know, you can do show interface description, and that'll show you anything that they've put down for description. This is helpful in a production environment where you need or may need to know where all your links are going if you have many of them, or if you're in like an access switch. So it helps to always put a description so somebody knows what's going on. Point to point doesn't tell you much, but at least you know that that link is terminated on the other end. So now let's make sure we can ping. Since there's no VRFs, we're all in the global, let's go ahead and try to ping router 1, 192.168.0.1. Take a second, and we're good. Let's make sure we can ping from router 1 to router 2, which we should. But as a rule of thumb, always verify. Trust but verify, especially in a production environment. So we can ping across. Since we're already in router 1, let's go ahead and config T, and let's jump in that tunnel. Interface tunnel. Now, as far as a number, what you'd like to put on there. Lots of options. We're going to go with 1. An IP address we're going to use is something extremely basic. We'll use another /30, and we'll use a 172.0.0.1 for router 1. Put the subnet masks, excuse me. And then tunnel source is going to be our gig 00 that we have IP'd up, and then our tunnel destination is going to be the gig 00 on router 2, which is 192.168.0.2. And that's it. If I go ahead and end, I do a show run interface tunnel 1, that's all we have in our tunnel. Now, do I have to define the tunnel mode? Well, let's find out. If I do a show interface tunnel 1, what's the default mode of this? Tunnel protocol and transport, GRE IP. So I don't have to do it. It doesn't have to be defined. But if you wanted to define it, it'd be config T, interface tunnel, whatever your tunnel is, and then it'd be tunnel mode. As you can see, there's tons of tunnel modes. We're going to choose GRE. And then instead of multi-point IPv6, we're going to choose IP because we're just using IPv4. If you were using IPv6, you would use IPv6, but then our IP address would be a little bit different. And then if you're going to be using multi-point, that's more or less for a DMVPN or an interface that's going to be having many connections coming in, but it's only going to be applying over that one interface. So everything's going to function over that one multi-point GRE tunnel interface. So like I said, that's more of a DMVPN technology or something that's going to be using a one-to-many in the GRE realm. So it'll let us define it. Now, if I go ahead and I get out of here and I do a show interface, it's still a GRE IP tunnel, so nothing's changed there. Let's do a show run. Same thing. Doesn't even show up. So I think we're good there. On router 2, let's go ahead and config T. Sometimes I have to slow down. All right, interface tunnel 1. IP address 172.0.0.2. Again, it's a /30, so there's not much here. Tunnel source is going to be gig 00 that we IP'd on router 2. We gave an IP. And then our tunnel destination, you got it, 192.168.0.1, because we got to go ahead and hit router 1. End. All right, just make sure Nothing changed. Show run interface tunnel 1. Got all the good stuff. Show interface tunnel 1. Good to go. Let's go ahead and try and send a ping over it. Sounds like a good idea, huh? What do we want to hit? Well, we're on router 2. Let's hit 172.0.0.1. And let's source it from the tunnel we just made. All right. It works. And look at that. 5 packets input, 5 packets output. So we not only sent the data, we got the data back over tunnel 1. That's awesome. Now, remember, trust but verify. So let's just do it over this one, just because it helps to build habits, especially when it comes to verifying your work. So we'll go with 172.0.0.2, because that's router 2. We're going to source it over tunnel 1. All right. So now what should we have on that interface for router 1 on tunnel 1? If we had 5 and 5 on the other side, we should have 10 by now, right? Because we had the IP packet is 1, or ICMP is 1 packet, and we do it 5 times. We just did it another 5 times. So let's see. And look at that. 10 packets input, 10 packets output. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much. I hope you learned something. Setting up a GRE tunnel is very easy. It's just 2 routers, 1 connection between the 2 of them. You have your tunnel source, your tunnel destination, and then you have your overlay IP address that you're going to be using for the tunnels between the 2 devices. Thanks again. My name is John. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.